Hey Sam, are you ready to work on strengthening your hips for better back and knee health?
You know, Ben, I already went to PT and tried to strengthen my hips for my lower back pain, and it didn't really work.
What exercises did they have you do, Sam?
Clamshells.
So one of my biggest concerns as a fitness professional is that people will either think that exercise can't solve major pain problems or that exercise doesn't work for them and won't help them get the results they want because of what they've tried in the past. So what I see in the exercise and fitness space, including the physical therapy space, is people often recommending exercises that are outdated and we know now don't actually serve the intention for which they were created. And the exercise I'm going to talk about today and highlight is one that drives me absolutely crazy, and that is clamshells. Clamshells do not work. They are not a good exercise. However, the intention behind clamshells is important. And today we're going to talk about what people are trying to do with clamshells and some better exercises than clamshells and why clamshells don't work. So what is a clamshell? So basically you're lying on your side, you're pushing your knee out into the band, so you're strengthening your glute med by working on something called hip abduction, which is when you're bringing the leg away from the body. Okay, so the intention behind clamshells is to strengthen a muscle called your glute medius. So we actually have 3 different gluteal muscles. There's a glute max, a glute med, and a glute min. The clamshell is meant to target the glute med. So the glute med is right about here. If I'm going to borrow Sam for a moment, let's look at your butt, Sam. The glute med sits right inside of here. Now, what does the glute med do in real life? The main function of the glute medius is to stabilize the hip joint. So when I pick up one leg, the glute med here has to work hard to stabilize this leg. If this glute med is not able to do its job, this is what happens. Boom, right? You can see that when I'm in this position, my pelvis is in a bad position, the lower back has to compensate, and furthermore, what happens to the knee is the knee wants to roll in this way, and that creates a lot of undue forces on the knee and puts the knee at risk. So that's why the glute med is so important, and that's the muscle that the clamshell is attempting to target. Here's why clamshells don't work. So clamshells don't work because they try to train the glute med in isolation, but our muscles don't work in isolation, and that's why doing exercises that isolate muscles like clamshells don't mean anything to our bodies, and they don't actually result in better movement. Yes, doing lots of clamshells will build a stronger glute med, it'll build a bigger glute med, but here's the important thing. It doesn't build a smarter glute med that helps you move better. So let's go back to the single leg stance example. So if I'm standing on one leg, I'm using this glute med over here to stabilize the hip, right? But the glute med in this situation, it needs to learn how to work in a coordinated effort with lots of other muscles. It needs to work with all of those muscles that surround the spine. It needs to work with other muscles in the leg. It even needs to work with other muscles in the foot. So if we want a truly better glute med, a smarter glute med, a glute med that works well with all the other muscles, we need to train it like that. We need to train the glute med to work with the other muscles if we want to move better. So when you go down to do that clamshell, you'll feel it in your glute med, you'll get a bigger glute med, but when you come to standing, because you haven't trained the glute med to work with all the other muscles that it needs to work with, you're not going to be moving better. And if you're not moving better, you are not going to have less pain. You are not going to be stronger in real life situations. You're just going to have a bigger butt. So we have to learn how to train the glute med with all those other muscles. Otherwise, unless our goal is strict hypertrophy, we are wasting our time and we are not going to get the results we're looking for if we're looking for better back health and better knee health. Okay, so I'm going to show you a couple better designed glute med exercises that are going to help us strengthen the glute med with the rest of the muscles so we get the best result possible. So the side plank is always the first exercise I give clients for glute med. And it not only strengthens the glute med, but the muscles that surround the spine. So your glute med learns how to work with all those other muscles that surround the spine, so you get better movement as a result. The progression of side planks is actually band walks. So here you see me doing a more advanced variation of a band walk, but really this teaches me how to use my hips and use my glute med in the context of a stable spine so that I'm actually learning how to move better by doing this exercise. If you haven't already, download my free ebook, Bulletproof Your Back. I'll show you how to do side planks correctly and lots of other great exercises that will help out your back and make your body healthier.